Done it again. What up, people? It's your boy Chig from Guna Eagle Eye coming to again with a brand new video. This time it is a preview for Norwich versus Arsenal. And it's now time, unless you've been living under a rock, um, you'll know that Freddie has stepped up into the interim Arsenal manager position. And therefore, um, it's his time. The new era has begun. Big up to everybody that told me there was no sound once again. At least this time I caught it early, so it's not too bad, not too embarrassing. Um, so let's get cracking. We focus so much on the manager position. Let's talk about our opponents, Norwich. Norwich, they're a weird team because whilst I think they're 19th, aren't they? Something like that. Proper in relegation trouble. They're not necessarily playing like a relegation team. You know, this is the same team that this season. I mean, I know City are not exactly killing it at the moment. Keep in mind they just drew to Newcastle. But this is the same team that beat Man City this season. So they're a weird side because you think to yourself, all right, well, if you've beaten Man City, you must be a reasonably decent team. Um, and I'm just trying to get them up on the screen just so that this is supposed to be a seamless transition. It occurred to me the only thing I've not got on my screen at the moment is the Premier League table. Norwich City are currently 18th with 10 points, minus 15. They are 2 points behind Southampton. Keep in mind, Southampton just won. Did Southampton win? Or didn't they end? Yeah, they beat Watford, right? Gosh, Watford are rubbish now, boy. At the foot of the table. It just goes to show you, given all our problems, you don't really look down that side to actually appreciate how bad certain teams are. But yeah, Watford are uh, are really struggling at the moment. But then Norwich City, it's just a case of with them, what kind of Norwich will turn up. Let me tell you something though, and I truly believe this. Under Emre, I think we would have lost this game, and I would be predicting a loss. Keep in mind, their last game, they just beat Everton 2-0, and that was last Saturday, and that was away from home. Prior to that, they lost 2-0 to the aforementioned Watford at home. That's the type of this is the team we're talking about here. They are capable of losing and potentially beating anybody. But that's the Premier League for you. That is literally the Premier League for you. It don't make a lot of sense. There is not a lot of reason to it. Generally, this is a team that we should walk all over. Keep in mind also that what was it? Is it in the League Cup second round? They lost to Crawley Town 1-0. I mean, Crawley Town. Come on, guys. We should be able to run over Norwich. Just looking through their results, I'm just going to count. Other than the 3-2 Man City, looking through their results, I think they've only had one win. Okay, no. So they've had two wins. Obviously, the Everton one last week. 2 wins in 13 games. 2. We should be able to dance all over these lot. But if I tell you what, if there is another Jekyll and Hyde side, it is Arsenal. And we've been seeing a lot more Mr. Hyde than we would like. And they are also a team on their day capable of beating anyone. Anyone. But they are also very capable of somehow losing to anybody. This is Arsenal. Um, we believe that we've eradicated the main short-term cause of that, and that was Unai Emery. For me, I've gone on record to say this, I have nothing against the man. He seemed like a nice guy by all intents and purposes. Everyone who's interacted with him, you're not going to hear people say a bad word about him from a personal perspective. So to me, that's evidence enough that clearly the guy's a very personable sort of character. and very likable sort of character. But for whatever reason, communication is a lot when it comes to management. And if you're not able to communicate your instructions to your staff, or in this particular instance, to your players, you're gonna struggle. And that was what we discovered. And since then, and I'm sure there'll be more stories over the next couple of weeks. We've discovered how the players often used to take the mick out of him in team meetings and stuff like that. Let's have it right, though. The players shouldn't get away with that. The players should not get away with that. Regardless of what we think about the manager, the players shouldn't get away with that. They should be respecting the man. The man's not done anything wrong other than take a job with our freaking club. The players should hold some responsibility and hold some of the heat that we gave Unai Emery. But I digress. For me, Freddie coming in is a uniting figure. I know not everybody's convinced. There's a certain friend of mine I know cannot stand it at the moment. He cannot stand it. His worst nightmare is playing out, because I won't hot them up, but this particular person has gone on record a few times to say he's not a big believer of Arsenal legends being part of the team. The reason being is that when it comes to making difficult decisions and needing to get rid of them and being ruthless, you go back into a kind of a Wenger-esque situation where you're now reluctant to make difficult decisions. I can completely understand that process. From my personal point of view, I don't want this to be a permanent fixture, but I think in terms of uniting the fan base, bringing back a good feeling eventually when we do eventually play at the Emirates again, and just bringing back a good feeling in the players and the fan base, you put in someone who has worked with the players all season, perhaps can identify his own problems that he sees within the team. I don't see there being anything wrong with that. Also, what you've said to him is very clever. You've not given him to the end of the season, per se. What you've said is, we'll give you a few weeks. If you do well, we'll see how it plays out. I actually quite like that. I think that's a smart way of doing it. Gives you time to identify the person you actually want. And if Freddie is really not doing well, you can make that change quicker than you planned. So I actually don't mind the move, per se. So yeah, let's see how it plays out. For me, I guess when we talk about previews, we have to move on to the actual team itself. And it's difficult to actually think about what Freddie will do, because we don't really have any evidence of the sort of players he likes, the sort of formation he likes to play. We don't have that history. Even with Emery, we knew prior to him coming in that he favoured a 4-2-3-1. That was his preferred shape, and that he had some history playing three at the back. So everything that then played out was kind of unsurprising in terms of formation. But with Freddie, we don't really have that history. He's promised, going to his interviews, promised that he'll be playing attacking football. He seems like someone that I think would play attacking football, just due to the fact that is something that I know the logic of this might not necessarily stand up, but he's played a lot of attacking football for most of his career. I think it's what he's used to. I think it's what he's comfortable with. And I think that would be what he would want to teach players. And also, when you think about the way the under-23s played, so I suppose we do have that history. When we look at where the under-23s played, they very much played very free-flowing, attacking football. So I think that is something that he is going to bring to the team. So I'm not, and I always do this, I always say it's a hopeful 11. I say it's a hopeful 11 because I know some git is going to say, oh, well, Chig, there's no way Freddie's going to play that team. I'm not Freddie Ljungberg, guys. So it's impossible for me to guess what Freddie Ljungberg will do. Having said that, what I plan to do is do my hopeful 11. A lot of it is going to be a little bit about what I think Freddie might do, but also predominantly is going to be the sort of team that I would put out. So with that being said, and with that in mind, this is the 11 that I would use to face Norwich tomorrow. So let me share that with you guys now. Get rid of that. Let me not have anything too bait on here. One sec. Big up to Alex. Hello. Love the middle class North London accent. What college did you attend, son? Am I posh? Am I middle class? When did that happen? If you saw my area, you would know I'm not middle class, mate. Trust me. No. Anyway, let me share my starting lineup with you guys and see what you think. Should we go with that? All right. Do you guys see that fine? Sorry, Alex. Let me take your comment off. So this is my starting lineup. Let me know what you guys think. I've tried to incorporate a lot of youth. You've seen that by the fact that I've removed, other than Mesut Ozil and Uber, pretty much every 30-plus-year-old out of the team, just because I think Freddie might opt to do that. I think he would rather young players in there. And I think that that's the correct decision. I think if you want to freshen this team, I think you have to freshen the players and the sort of players that would typically bring in. I'm hoping Xhaka doesn't just simply walk back into the team. I'm hoping that Freddie's an old school guy and we'll see what Xhaka did and not like it. Not like the fact that he threw the armband off and threw the Arsenal shirt away and hasn't really, accepted his own part to play. Whilst I agree, I'm not a Granit Xhaka fan. I wouldn't boo him because I don't understand the logic of booing a player. What inspiration are you supposed to get when you're booing him? So I've never understood the purpose of booing any player. That's the only reason that I wouldn't. Having said that, I feel like he doesn't deserve his place in the starting lineup, which I know is stupid because in the last game, I gave him the best player. I thought he was man of the match. I actually thought he played quite good. But I just think, in my view, these would be the two I'd rather play. I don't think Guendouzi gets nearly enough love. I guarantee you'll see somebody in the chat room tell me that I'm talking rubbish about Guendouzi playing well. But I actually think he's done quite well this season, generally, on the whole. On the whole, probably one of the few bright sparks of Unai Emery. And I think someone like Freddie might be able to develop him properly. He's used to developing young players. Maybe someone like a Guendouzi, I think he might be able to really help him. Because it's easy to forget Guendouzi's 20 years old. He's 20. Oh my gosh, guys! For all the people talking and defending Joe Willock and him are the same age. Everyone just needs to remember that and relax. But yeah, for me, I think with Guendouzi, my only issue with Guendouzi is I do think he's overplayed sometimes. And I must admit, I was sat here thinking, do I go Willock or do I go Guendouzi? And there was a straight shot between the two. I opted for Guendouzi. I think Freddie will be sensible enough, regardless of if Granit Xhaka, Guendouzi, or Willock plays. He'll be smart enough, I think, to bring Torreira back in his correct position. That, I think, will happen. I think you're going to see Mesut Ozil play. I think Freddie, for better or worse with Mesut Ozil, and you guys know I have my issues with Mesut Ozil, but I think Mesut Ozil does need that kind of, he needs to feel special. And I know that annoys me, even as I say that, but he does need to feel special. And I think Freddie might be able to get into him and make him feel like that. Put an arm around him, tell him he's great, yada, 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 yada. I think Pepe we brought back into the team correctly, and I think it will be at the expense of Lacazette, which will be harsh for Lacazette because last Premier League game he obviously did very well. But I think it's the correct decision. I think it's about balance. It's not about fitting people in the team because they are Lacazette or they are Aubameyang. So I like the idea of Pepe coming back into the team. Again, another one who I think needs an arm around him, told he's great, build his confidence back up, and give him a bit of an attacking impetus. And I'm just waiting for Pepe and Hector to start tearing up that right-hand side. Because for all of Hector's faults, to be honest, he's not the greatest crosser of the ball either. But I think at least he'll give Pepe better support than Chambers will. You notice I've restored Chambers back to his correct position, and I've brought Holding in. I think an English core, Freddie might opt for that, and I think that's a reasonable shout. Tierney, because do I really need to explain at this point in time? And I think, obviously, the big call is Martinelli. Now, I did think about Saka, but I also think Saka played a lot this season. And there are some games he's played where, to be honest, I would have dropped him. And I love Saka, but I would have dropped him. And concurrently, this guy has deserved to start for how long? It doesn't make sense that he's not starting games. So I'd start him. I potentially think him and him would be a good partnership as well. So I say, why not make that happen? So that's the sort of team that I would like to play. I hope we'll play. At least for a first team, that might be a sensible way to start and then see where experience fits if it doesn't work. But I think that's a nice, energetic, bright, vibrant team that should be able to get a good result against the 19th placed Premier League side, Norwich, albeit it is an away game, so that presents its own challenge. Having said that, I expect us to win. And like I said to you earlier in this particular preview, if Emre was still in charge, I would expect us not to. There is always a manager bounce. There's always a manager bounce in performance. I think bringing back an Arsenal legend who plays attacking football and will manage the team in an attacking style, there'll be a reaction. But I want people to just bear in mind here, and I gave Lee a lecture about this with Jose, so it's only fair I give you lot a lecture. I fully expect Freddie to win this game. In fact, I expect Freddie to win this game and Thursday's game and next Monday's game. When that happens, I don't want to see no bars about, give him the job, sign him up to the end of the season, because that's what United fans did with United. They put pressure on the board. The board offered Ollie a contract, and now they're in a situation where they almost have to see it through. Everybody just relax. If he wins the first 3 games, just be happy that he's won 3 games. Let's not start asking or begging for permanent contracts here and there. Let him actually earn the job. That means not for 3 games, not for 6 games, not for 9 games. For the rest of the season, let him earn the job. And then if come the end of the season, we get Champions League football, and then we somehow win the Europa, you start singing to your heart's content about Freddie deserves a job. I don't want us to fall into this United trap. I'm gonna give this little pre-warning every single time I do a preview. Because I have a little following. But maybe just that little following will be enough to just get people to just realize, relax. 1 game at a time. Let's see this out to the end of the season. Because Arsenal fans are real flip-floppy, reactionary. And it's about just controlling that. Let's not talk about full-time jobs and give him the job and, it will give Freddie confidence. None of that. Let's just see this season out. It's not been a great season. Let's just see it out and everybody just remain calm. I know it's probably going to fall on deaf ears, but I'm going to try anyway. Anyway, guys, you guys let me know what you think of the team. I'm sure you are going away at it in the comments and in the chat. Let me see what you guys have to say in the chat room. I'm going to stop sharing now. Hold on. Can I stop? Yep. There you go. There's my big bad self back on the screen. Let me know what you think of the starting lineup. That'll be great. Yeah, oh yeah. Jeremiah, I've seen it before. I've seen it again. Trust me. I know. Chigs, would you take Freddie? Would you take Freddie Premier League? Fred Prep. Oh, sorry. Just reread that. Sorry. Chigs, would you take Freddie permanently if he does well? Also, why don't you like Allegri as our manager? I explained this yesterday in a video, so I don't want to go into it again. So go check that out. It's just, for me, my gut feeling is I wouldn't go for him. But if he becomes our manager, I would support, of course. I've always said it to you guys, though. The best CV doesn't necessarily mean it's the best appointment. I've always said that. And if Freddie does well, and again, this is something I've always said, you set him targets. If you say to him, and bear in mind, if we win tomorrow, we're 5 points behind fourth. So if you said to him, all right, you get top 4 and you win the Europa League and the job is yours, quite honestly, he's earned it. From the position that we're in now versus that, he would have earned it. What I don't want is what United did, where Ollie won I think it was 7 or 8 games back to back. And instead of waiting till the end of the season, they just gave him the job without actually achieving anything. It's like, relax, be easy. But as things now, for me, I would still get a permanent replacement. And yes, to answer your question, Reese, sorry, I just saw Reese's comment and it's gone now. It's gone now. No, Reese, your comment's gone. But yes, Reese, I did see your comment and I would love Rafa. I don't think it's going to happen, though. Very disappointed to hear that the rumors of the players are making fun of our manager. High school bullying from professionals in the softest sport in the world. Walter, well said. Well said. Well said. Straight up. It's high school bullying. That's all it is. Secondary school bullying. It's going to happen. Our fan base is so fit. Oh, I know. I already know. Ollie was amazing for 3 months. If Freddie does well, even for a month, our fan base will cry. Oh, I know. I know it already. I know it already. Because this is what I'm going to say. I'm calling it now. I think we win the next 3 games. I think we'll win the next 3 games. I know West Ham won today, but I think we'll beat West Ham a week on Monday. And then our next game is Thursday. And I think we win that game. Can't even remember who it is we're playing, but I think we win that game. I remember thinking it weren't hard. So I think we win that game. And so I know people are going to go mad after that West Ham game. Everybody just relax. Freddie is a legend. I love him. Do you know it's funny, because I don't know about you guys. Have you seen some of the interviews and the training pictures? He looks right in the role. I will say that. There was something about Emery. He never quite looked right in the role somehow. I think it was just because I was used to seeing Arsene Wenger in the position. But something about Freddie wearing that stuff, you're like, yeah, that's an Arsenal man. And I must admit, even though I'm not particularly fussed about Freddie taking it permanently, he does look good in the tracksuit and in the position. I must admit. I say that in a very heterosexual manner, I know. Chig, just had a team talk. Thoughts? Um, Nothing really. I think it's pretty normal when a major change like that has happened for the director to, or for a higher up to talk to the team. It'd be the same in any business. Just to reassure the players that there isn't any, that the team is stable, the business is stable, the club is stable, that everything is in hand. All they need to focus on is their own team performance. I kind of saw the picture and thought, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, agreed, Marbles, agreed. Who you have injured for tomorrow? You need to elaborate for that. Do I feel bad for Emery? I don't know about feeling bad, but what I will say, Reese, and it got me a lot of heat this on Twitter. I'm not going to celebrate someone losing their job. Like, I feel like that's some bad karma. Like, it feels a bit arse backwards. I don't like that. I don't like the feel of doing that. But what I will say is that I'm relieved for everyone, including Emre, that this saga is done. He's not a bad manager. Some jobs are just some people are just out of depth when they come to certain jobs. This job was too big for him. Simple as that. Chig, would you take Freddie permanently? I don't know if you came late, but I said set him an objective, and that objective would be top 4 and Europa League. If he gets it, I'd give it to him. If Freddie does well, that great. But we need to think about the next manager because they can't get it wrong this time. Whoever comes in has to start with the defense. Agreed? Agreed. I agree with your opinion on Allegri. Honestly, Chigs, the run of managers in contention in football are not appeasing. Okay, I think that's supposed to be appealing. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, there is no obvious choice. Some people might argue Jose was the obvious choice. We've obviously since learned that the board were very keen on Jose. But yeah, is what it is. Ryan, I ain't seen you in a bit. Hopefully we don't bottle it tomorrow. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Mr. Jones. Oh, okay, yeah, I've already read that. He got a lot of unnecessary abuse, but he needed to be sacked. 100% agree. 100% agree. Emre can't manage big clubs, and that could be the case. You know, David Moyes strikes me as that's why I kept comparing him to Moyes, because Moyes strikes me as that sort of person. You know, I thought he did fine with Everton. I know Everton are a big club to a certain degree, but they're about as big as maybe Valencia are. Let's be real here. And then, you know, as soon as Moyes moved to United, we saw what happened. And the West Ham hangover was just the West Ham performance was just United hangover, really. Now that he's had some time away from the game, he might come back and do something. And I think with Emre, I think there'll be no problems him picking up a job. You watch. I think he'll get like a Betis or one Spanish club like that, and he'll do great with them. You know why? Because he can communicate in his own language, which I do think helps. Yeah, I agree with you, Joseph. As a person, because he doesn't seem like a nasty person. I know a few people said to me, "How do you know he's a nice person?" I'm like, did you hear anything bad? Like, I never heard anything remotely bad about him. He always seemed like a nice enough geezer. Probably too nice, and that's why some of the players were able to take the piss. So, you know, when someone is not a nasty guy, it's pretty easy to feel for them. Yeah, he made some awful decisions. That doesn't make him a bad person. Did you see my comment about the ex-Valencia manager in your Insta? Not my first choice, but just found out about him now, wanting your view on him. So, Leo, I did see that message, right? And my view on him is the same as it is on Ten Hag. Don't know if I've even said that right. The Ajax manager, and the Red Bull manager. For me, it's about consistency. If these managers are doing it consistency on a 3-season basis, come talk to me about them. But one thing I've learned from the Monaco manager situation, Jardem, is that, all right, for a season, you could be good. What happens the season after? It weren't so long ago that Tony Pulis was manager of the year for the Premier League. Look at him now. So I think everybody just needs to relax when it comes to these sort of. I get it. Everyone's trying to find their new Arsene Wenger. So I get it. You know, you're trying to find that manager that comes from nowhere. But to me, I think everybody just needs to relax and chill. Managers can have hot streaks. If they're consistent, then we can really consider them. You know? That's why I like the Nuno situation. Because with Nuno, for me, he's done it. This is a 3-season process he's had. He's taken Wolves from struggling in the championship to getting promotion with them. Then he got them into the top 7 for Europa League. And now, lo and behold, where is he prior to today? In the top 5. This is consistency. Brief consistency, but consistency. So this is why I'm not against necessarily Nuno. Chig, how is your favorite player in our group? What group? Who is that? Do they know me personally? I don't know. Chig, we need a centre back in January. Is there an obvious choice? Nope. Not for me. Not unless you're calling, what's his name? What's that kid's name? What's the kid that we bought? Saint Etienne. Gosh, I'm getting old. I've forgotten it. Unless you're calling him early. Nope. Have I considered the legendary Belsa? I have not. And I would not. Thank you for the donation, though, Rabada. Ten Hag is so overrated. Chig, every Arsenal fan says the new manager needs to have attacking football. Would you take boring football as successful? Jeremiah, you should already know the answer to this question because I know you're in a lot of my streams. What is my bar? My bar is the most entertaining football is winning football. I could not care less if in winning football, we're playing entertaining football. I'm all about effective football. Simple as that. Louise's friends posted, "We want Poch," on Louise's farewell to Emre. Because damn, cares. Saliba, there you go. Thank you, guys. Anyone watching Poch are Guna frauds? I just don't get this Poch thing. I don't get it. This is a man who left Spurs in 14th. Spurs in 14th. And Spurs thought, nah, you know what? We've had enough. We need another manager that is next level. Arsenal fans actually are much more than I ever thought as well. Actually want this guy. It is so disappointing. I'm so disappointed. Honestly. Should be more ambitious than Poch. At least the one thing I like about, even if you went Eddie Howe and just saying, well, Chig, how's Eddie Howe when he ambitious? At least it's something different. Poch, flip. If you weren't good enough for Spurs, why is it good enough for us? Part the Buff SC. Why do we want a Spurs reject? Oh, brother, it might be just you lot then, because I tell you, the Poch wagon is rolling. Even Mems was saying earlier, am I the only Arsenal fan left that doesn't want Poch? I'm like, no, brother, you're not the only one. I don't know what the Poch obsession is about. I think people are looking ahead to wonder if we could give Poch his first trophy and rub it in Spurs fans' face, rather than, is the man actually suitable? Is he actually good enough? Why did Spurs get rid of him? Just make basic assessments. Should we go out and get quality right back in January? Bellerin isn't doing good this season, and Chambers should be a centre back, in my opinion. Mayo, I would. I think that's one less thing that we can look for in January. I think if we focus on a right back, particularly if there is a candidate out there that looked good, why not? I honestly don't get it either. I don't get it. Who is my favourite player in Arsenal? I don't know. I don't know about favourite players. You know, I kind of agree with Lee. As you get older, you don't really have favourite players. You just want the team to do well. I don't really have favourite players anymore. Not anymore. I used to. Not anymore. We are bigger than Spurs. Why do we want someone who wasn't good enough for them? Eddie played 10 minutes tonight. I say recall him. Recall Eddie Nketiah. Wasted him out there. Get into a club that actually wants him. I don't want Poch, but saying he wasn't good enough for Spurs. I mean, he lasted 5 years. So? Arsene Wenger lasted 22 years. How many cycles is that? Are you telling me that we should bring him back because he was once upon a time good for us? That doesn't even make sense. I've said this before and I say this again. This is a what have you done for me lately business. This is a what have you done for me lately business. Don't get me wrong, he's a good coach. But I'm not in the habit of getting somebody back who's just left the club 2-3 weeks ago for taking them to 14th. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If he wasn't good enough for Spurs, he's damn sure not good enough for me. If people want Poch, be prepared for even greater failure. I'll be Poch out straight away if he comes in. And this is the other thing, right? All right, forget the fact that I don't want Poch, because I wouldn't be Poch out. I don't want Poch. I wouldn't be Poch out because I support him. Even if it was Poch, I would support him. But why would you want people who divide the fan base so badly? It just doesn't make sense. Bringing in a neutral person who people don't feel so strongly against from the very get-go and give the manager half a chance. Poch almost has to prove himself while he's in the job if he was to be offered it. Arsenal fans, man. He deserves one more chance since he was good last season. I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing in competition for Bellerin. We've needed it for a while. Don't get me wrong, I've always agreed on you. And in that, Rafa was first choice. Obviously, Simeone is a dream as long as I've always carefully listened to your comments about defenders and F-Poch. Well, I appreciate that, Leo. And yes, for me, don't get me wrong, I would still love Rafa, but there's no point talking about Rafa if he's not even in if he's not even in the conversation. What's the point? Big up to Mr. Harmonum. Anyone who doesn't play it out from the back will do. I suspect Freddie won't. So you might have you might be very happy there. Thank you for your donation, buddy. Appreciate it. Big Mike in the house. I want trophies. Let's get Benitez or even Don Carlo. I wouldn't have Carlo Ancelotti, I must admit. Who would you want who would I want? In an ideal world, Freddie, then Rafa. Then 2 years with Rafa, and then Nagelsmann. That would be how I would love to structure it. Realistically, from this position, Freddie, then Brendan. I think you could get Brendan out of his contract. Something tells me, looking at that interview, put money in front of Leicester, ask the question, I suddenly think Brendan Rodgers will be coming. Who do you want to be Freddie to be Freddie's captain? Not Granit Xhaka. I don't think there's any reason to change it. I suspect Freddie will keep it as Uber and probably should. So yeah, I don't think there's any reason to change it. All right, guys, I'm going to do 10 more minutes because I know that Lee is going to come on at 9 for his own preview. So 10 more minutes and then we out of here. Yo, Wilson. How many points will Liverpool win the Premier League by? I'm going to say 10 points. 10 points they'll win the league by. Do you think Uber will leave in January? Nope, he'll leave in the summer. Freddie will definitely mix it up when it comes to playing out from the back. Phew, I agree. Look at the mess before Poch took over. I'm not Poch in, but in his defense, it is not his fault that his dressing room became a mess and Ericsson and all these affected them. All I'm asking is for those people, and Jason, I know you're not in this camp because you've said this, but you've made a point that reminds me of something. For all those people who want Poch in and are making a very similar point to Jason about certain elements being out of Poch's control, cool. Did you have that same energy with Emery? Did you have that same energy with Wenger? No, you did not. It's because you want Poch that you're making these defenses. Now, Jason, like I said, I don't put you in that category because you made it clear you're not Poching. But I just think I've heard similar excuses being bandied about to me this week. It's like, all right, cool. So where was all these excuses when we were talking about Wenger going or Emery going? Because Emery had a similar problem. The dressing room became toxic. The defense was useless. Players turned against him. You can literally replace Poch with Emery in that statement. It doesn't wash, does it? I prefer Nuno over Poch on any given day. I'm with you, Wilson. I'm with you. Listen, we should settle for... Why should we settle for second best? Be acting like a big club and get the best like Simeone in an ideal world. He'd kick a proof flag. Brother, I'm with you. That for me, I said this to Leon on last watch along. Why wouldn't we act like a big club? Why wouldn't we just go there, Atletico Madrid, and say, all right, cool. How much do you actually want, though? If we're actually considering paying 14 million for Brendan Rodgers, I'd rather do that for someone like Simeone. Chig, the Poch lovers will say Klopp almost regulated Dortmund, and look what he's doing now. Cool. This all I'm saying is you're right, and my issue is, did you have the same energy with Emery? No, you did not. It's because you want Poch that you're trying to justify it. Thank you, my bro. Please do stick a like on this video, guys. Please do crush that like button. Over 100 people watching on a Saturday night where I know people have been paid. So thank you so much for that. But please do stick a like on this video. It really does help the video get noticed if you guys do that. Literally, I'm doing 5 more minutes and then I'm out of here. 5 more minutes. Bombard me with questions and I'll try and answer them. I'm not going to mess with the bar. As I see them, I'll answer. Allegri should be a priority for me. Okay. FVAR, artificial champions to be. I hate Liverpool fans, but they deserve it. VAR assistance or no VAR assistance. Prefer Poch, he's got Champions League experience. Feel my love for Arsenal has been re-sparked. Yeah, me too, Nimsy. Me too. I'm actually looking forward to watching this game tomorrow with Lee. Chig, why do we get big clubs leftovers? First Chelsea's rejects, then United as well. Exactly. Do you want Spurs? You want Spurs this one next? That's the real question. I'd take Rodgers all day. Do you think Willock starts? I think he's got a good chance of starting. He didn't make my lineup, but the debate was between him and Guendouzi. Aren't we all, Jeremiah? Aren't we all? Aren't we all? Chip, where we are in the table, is it realistic? Where we are in the table, realistic expectations for Freddie to keep the job. Realistically, fourth, winning Europa. That is realistic. It's realistic because we are 5 points behind fourth if we win tomorrow. Chelsea losing really helped us. So it's realistic. Will it be easy? Hell no. Hell no. Just for it, let me remind everybody what my starting 11 was. Just to put that up real quick. This is my starting 11 for tomorrow. As I always say, it's my hope for 11. It's not what I think Freddie will do. This is just what I would do. So this is my starting 11. You'll notice I've removed experience and I've put youth because I think Freddie might do that. So that's my 11. Yeah? Top 6 predictions. Top 6 predictions. Okay, let's try this. Liverpool, City, Man City, Leicester, Arsenal, Chelsea, Wolves. Top 6. There you go. That's my top 6. Here we go. Oh, gosh. Spurs, United. That's my top 8. Do you think Martinelli would start? I think there's a good chance he could start. Couldn't see your 11. I'll put my 11 there. I like your pick, Chig. My pick. Oh, you like my 11? Okay, I'm with you. Yep, no Spurs. You heard me. Bon Jose. I'm gonna damn. This is what I'm arguing with Lee about at the moment. Because he's telling me, see, Chig, look at Jose. Look at he's barely won 3 games. Relax. Relax, brother. And me and Lee have now made a bet off the back of it. I'll let him tell you what that bet is. I'll probably tell you tomorrow. Top scorer, Vardy. Chig, you must make an astute point about Poch's cycle and Wenger's cycle because it's true, brother. And the thing is, you know what annoys me about and why I've made that point? The people that are making excuses for Poch were the loudest people during Wenger, and I'm like, what? Come again? No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Poch is a bad coach. What I don't understand, I would even understand a little bit more, is if it was next year you guys wanted Poch. All right, cool. This guy just left Spurs and left them in 14th. 3 weeks later, you want this same guy that Spurs 3 weeks ago said, nah, brother, you ain't good enough still. And you want us to have him. Eh? No. Not for me. That's just my observation. I mean, you still have people like Vamos that want Poch. So listen, if you want Poch, power to you. Just not for me. Yes, there will be a wash along with Lee tomorrow. The game is on early. It's on at 2. So keep that in mind. All right, give me some predictions now, guys. In terms of my predictions, I think we'll win tomorrow, first and foremost. I think it'll be a good performance. It'll be interesting to see the defense that we use. I'm hoping he uses mine. I suspect one of Louise or Socrates will get in because I think Freddie won't want to rock the boat too soon. And the problem with dropping 2 experienced players is you are rocking the boat when you do some stuff like that. So I fully expect for one of those to get into the team. So for that reason, I think we'll concede, but I think we'll win 3-1. You guys let me know what you think. Let's just finish off with this. So Mayo, 3-1 to the Arsenal. Poch is the most sensible, obvious, least risky appointment he could walk into. Yeah, cool. David Moyes walked into the Man United job. That doesn't mean anything. It don't mean anything. Do you know what I'm most looking forward to? Togetherness. 4-1 Arsenal, 4-0 to the Arsenal. Martinelli, Uber, Pepe brace. I think Pepe will score a brace as well. I think he'll score a brace too. 2-2 till I see the lineup. No faith in Freddie from the get-go, Carl, huh? Oh my gosh. 6-2, you know. All right. Oh no, you know what? If he goes to Man United, fair play to him. 3-1. Do we play Laka at number 10? Could be an option. Morning, Chig. I hope you're well. Morning, you know. Gosh damn, you must be in Australia or somewhere like that. Morning to you. It's evening here. It's night here. It's 9 o'clock here. Speaking of 9 o'clock, guys, please do head over to Lee's channel. That's Lee Gunner, partner in crime. He's about to start his own preview. So it'll be interesting to see what team he has as a starting lineup. So absolutely flood the crap out of his chat room and just say to him that Chig sent you. In the meantime, before you bounce, please do stick a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and really do crush that like button. Please help people notice this video. I'll be back tomorrow on this channel with Lee doing what I'm hoping is a winning review and player ratings. So I'm hoping I'm going to be looking forward to it. And yeah, that's pretty much it for now, guys. 108 of you. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Head over to Lee's channel. Say I sent you. Peace.